Today, I want to talk about the fact that this current job market has taken the fight out of myself and so many other people. And I don't know how you can blame anyone because of all the things that you have to go through: the ghosting, the fake jobs, the endless amount of workday applications where you have to fill out the same exact application over and over again. And then these rejection emails, if you even get one, are basically on timers to add 2 or 3 days. And then you get a spam of rejection emails a couple of days after you've done a few different job applications. And people are just really fed up with this. Even myself have taken a step back, a foot off of the gas from applying to as many jobs as possible because it just doesn't feel like I'm getting anywhere, making any progress. So I'm putting my effort into something else, something I'm actually passionate about, something that actually might make me a little bit of money that just applying to jobs is not going to do, and that's this YouTube channel. So today I want to go over people's stories I found on LinkedIn and just what they're sharing out there in the public, if you will, about their experience and their thoughts and their current feelings about this job market. We start off with Tia on LinkedIn, who is open to work. She has her banner on, and she says, honestly, done. Just done. I don't think I have enough fight in me anymore for this job market. Rejection after rejection. All I want is to serve my passion in HR through a job I love so that my colleagues and I can make meaningful, life-changing impacts. What more is there to feel when your soul is constantly tested for, during, and after interviews, only to have the door slammed in your face and the general, at this time, we have decided to move forward with other candidates? I can't take this anymore. Hashtag done, hashtag enough, hashtag had it. And this is a general feeling of anyone who's been applying for at least a few months, if not a year or more, for jobs, because it's the same stuff over and over again. And then these job rejection emails are so generic, but then it's like they bury the lead. It's like blah, 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 blah. Like, get to it. Just say, hey, thanks for applying. We're moving on. But you have to read through this and you have a little bit of hope when you're like, oh, maybe it's saying a lot of people have applied and congratulations on being shortlisted. You're going to the next round. We're going to give you a call. But then it's always the same thing. At this time, we have decided to move forward with other candidates or people who pursue or align with what we're looking for a little bit more, or like who's blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Just come out and say it at this point. But it's very, very demoralizing to keep applying for jobs and to keep getting rejected with no hope, no feedback, nothing to really build upon. And it seems like on LinkedIn, and I don't know if a higher percentage of HR people are using LinkedIn than other professions, but it just seems like person after person who has a history and experience in HR, human resources, is out there bearing their heart because they can't find a new role any other way. Next, we go to Josh, who is a Navy veteran and also has the green open to work banner on. And his post says, "Dear Southeast Asia based recruiters, I get it. You've got a job to do. But if you're reaching out to American candidates, let me help you help yourself with a few tips. Number one, start with who you are, who you work for, and where you're based. You know, basic introductions, like humans do. Ask if the person is even looking for a job, and what kind. W-2, C2C, full-time, contract, remote from the beach, etc. Number three, if you're actually recruiting for a job and not just collecting resumes like Pokemon, please share the job description. You already stalked our LinkedIn. Might as well show us what you've got. Number four, include a ballpark pay range. It saves everyone time and prevents awkward ghosting later." So let's take a pause there. You apply to jobs, some of us all day long, and all you get is rejection emails. But then all of a sudden you get emails from people with very long names that are very hard to pronounce, and you just like feel like everything is a scam because I want to hear back from people, but the people related to the jobs that I've actually applied for. Why am I only getting emails from third-party recruiters who have these long names, are probably from different countries, and And that's it. I mean, where's all the responses from the jobs I'm actually applying to? And they don't give you a whole lot of information, or if they do, you could tell it was just copied and pasted. Basically, someone else, maybe their boss, maybe their supervisor, sent them the job details, and they'll even leave little notes in there. Like they're not even doing a good job copying and pasting into the email. And plus, you're lucky if they even put your first name in there. I'm pretty sure they should have some kind of, I don't know, MailChimp, but some kind of email system set up where you could at least parse the first name of the person or, heaven forbid, type in the first name. And it's just very vague, very suspicious. And, people are desperate out there. And I think it could lead to scams. It could lead to getting some information that you really shouldn't be sharing with a stranger via an email. And then they'll go in also stalk you on your LinkedIn so you can go and see, oh, this person sent me an email and then they either at least viewed my LinkedIn or maybe sent me a LinkedIn request. But even if you respond to the emails where they say, hey, I have a job posting, give you the general information, okay, you respond, that looks good. And then they will most likely say, send me the latest resume. Then you send them the resume and then you never hear anything again. Even if you were to message them on LinkedIn, you don't hear anything again. So they're collecting data, collecting resumes like Pokemon, as this guy on LinkedIn says. So that's all very accurate. Number 5, don't send a connection request just to ask, do you like W-2 work? That's not how you start a relationship. That's how you get ignored. Number 6, never demand a resume before sharing the basics. Job, pay, location. We're not playing resume roulette. Number 7, the US is big. Telling someone in Florida about a 6-month on-site gig in Ohio is like asking someone in Bali to commute to Bangkok. Hard pass. Number 8, finally, check the person's actual background before pitching a job. QA managers don't usually want entry-level data entry gigs. We noticed when you didn't even skim our profiles. That's very true. Not every country is as big as the US, so you can have people reach out to you, and even if it's in the same state, if you have a house, if you're locked into a lease, you can't just go from Miami to Tallahassee or Miami to Jacksonville to easily commute to work. I mean, it not only needs to be in the same state, it needs to be in the same metro area. And nonetheless, if you're saying someone to go to a completely different state, like that's not reasonable, especially since remote work is completely off the table and you're going to have to figure out how to uproot yourself and potentially a family to a brand new state. And that is quite a big ask. And I think if someone really wanted to go beyond a 30 to 60-minute drive, they'd be applying to those jobs and not waiting for someone to reach out to them on LinkedIn or via email. And then it should be something correlating to their actual information, their actual job experience. So if you've taken the time to find their information from a resume that was probably submitted to a different job that was sold to your firm, you should at least have their resume. You might want the most updated resume or a resume that more aligns with this job, which may or may not be real. But you have a resume. You know the basics of their job experience. And if you didn't get a resume that you bought from one of the companies that the candidate submitted an application for, then you've at least seen their LinkedIn. So if they have a history of software engineering and development and all this kind of stuff, you shouldn't pitch something that's completely unrelated that they've never done before in their career. Next on LinkedIn, Dean poses the question, are there any legitimate recruiters on LinkedIn anymore? When I first changed my status to open to work, I was bombarded with 24 recruiters sending me messages within minutes. Most of those turned out to be bots. Different messages from different accounts, many listed in different countries, but all wanting to sell me a service or a subscription. Then, when you actually connect with an honest-to-goodness real person, they either do not follow up with you or they offer positions that are tens of thousands of dollars less than you typically earn or 2 steps down from your experience level. Most jobs are found through contacts and relationships, but there isn't always an opportunity at the moment through those contacts or friends. Recruiters, I understand your job. I was a recruiter early on in my career. I get it. But please understand and have some consideration for those who are relying on you to be honest. Do not give them false hope. Ghosting is even worse. Candidates, whether hourly employees or senior management, deserve your respect, feedback, and follow through. And I don't know if all recruiters are fake, but it seems like that first initial screening recruiters have all gone virtual. It's either telling you to respond to questions via a one-way interview, or record a video of yourself on like a Loom or something like that, just with a basic interview so they can see what you look like and probably discriminate against you if they don't like the way that you look or the way that you sound. Or it's something like a virtual recruiter where they'll ask you interview questions over the phone, record your answers, and then send that information in. Or it's a chat bot that's asking you some basic questions to upload your resume when you're going to apply to a job. Or it's some kind of skills or some kind of test or some kind of assessment. I mean, there are so many different ways. I mean, those are just the ones off the top of my head of being able to eliminate that human interaction in the very first step. And I guess I didn't even bring up the ATS in the first place, the applicant tracking system, which will take your information from just uploading a resume and with some basic information all the way up to a very detailed, thorough Workday application that you might have to fill out. I mean, there are so many steps, so many barriers of entry, so many gatekeepers in this initial process that it truly doesn't feel like you have any chance, any prayer of talking to a human to start off the job application process. I even took things one step further and started calling around to different staffing companies to just see if they had anything available. I talked to people I made phone calls to recruiters and staffing agencies in 3 different cities in my state, and maybe 10% of those calls actually someone answered, and I went and left a voicemail on every single one, even if it was a receptionist who answered and forwarded me to a recruiter. I mean, this was maybe 3 weeks ago at this point, and I think 1 or 2 of those people called me back. So I reached out to every staffing agency I can find on Google Maps, and barely anyone answered. Nobody really called me back. And the couple of people I did speak to didn't even have any jobs. So if you do actually get in touch and maybe get a little creative to talk to a human being, doesn't mean they have any jobs, doesn't mean they're going to call you back. So yeah. Basically, dealing with a robot or a virtual recruiter is your best bet, and that's still probably not going to get you anywhere. Next, let's look at things from the other side of the table. Here we have a recruiter who has posted a job, and she also has the hiring purple banner up on her LinkedIn profile. And her story is, I decided to do a test and post a job. And it looks like she's a voiceover actress and author. A doctor applied, admitted he didn't even read what the job was. Because LinkedIn gave me the posting for free, it only allowed me X amount of people. Over half didn't read a single thing I posted. I had to block 10 people. Many lied about understanding English at all. Many lied about their name, location, and work history. It's no wonder people can't get hired on LinkedIn with results like this. Many, no matter how much I repeated myself, they didn't get it because, as stated, lacking understand of English. Which is, I think, pretty funny that she's making English typos, complaining about other people's English. Anyways, let's continue. Because, as stated, lacking understand of English, which they lied about. This is the most disgusting results I have ever seen from a professional website, and I don't recommend anyone paying for a job posting. If you have, ask for your money back. And these are the times that we're in. A job application process, a job inquiry, is basically 2 sides lying to each other. The job poster is lying probably about the salary, the opportunity. Sometimes they're lying about having a job at all. And then the person looking for a job, desperate times call for desperate measures. You gotta do what you gotta do, whatever popular saying you want to use. You can go out there and you can apply and be 100% honest and you can get nowhere, or you could at least tweak the truth a little bit and do what you got to do to even get past all these virtual recruiters that I just got done ranting about. So just being honest and straightforward isn't going to get you past the AI involved, and you're gonna have to maybe do some things that you might not necessarily be proud of, but you gotta do these things in order to put food on the table. But then this lady is talking about people are just applying to jobs that they have no background, no experience in. So if it's voiceover work, yeah, I don't think a doctor should be applying. And really, when you look at these postings, basically anything that's remote or easy apply is going to have over 100 people probably apply to it within 1 to 2 hours. So a lot of that has to be just people just applying anything, just throwing spaghetti against the wall just to see what works. So it's this whole system is broken, and it's really challenging probably on both ends, because these employers don't understand how many people are applying to these jobs and why they're getting hundreds and hundreds of applications, and the job seeker isn't understanding why after hundreds and hundreds of applications they're not getting any calls back. Colin commented on this post and he said, "I found it to be completely average among its competitors," talking about LinkedIn. "But I think it reveals why the job market is so fractured. With so many people wanting to hire, so many people wanting to be hired, and all the trouble between making those two things happen. These digital hiring systems are incredibly far from being strong solutions." And this is even someone who, you can tell from their badge, is paying for LinkedIn Premium. So they're paying additional money and they still don't think it's the best solution out there. And then Silk, I guess is how you pronounce it. She's open to work and she says, "I think this site is becoming very spammy for both sides. I can't tell you how many jobs I applied for that were a perfect match and never heard anything. Yet there are so-called recruiters who turn out to be scammers. I think it sucks both ways." And then Mardella Greca says, "Totally, it's a disaster. It's one of those things where you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain." I mean, Facebook at the beginning, when I was in college, like, oh, this is pretty cool, new, exciting, and now look at it. LinkedIn, it's like, oh, this is a professional website, I can network, I can share things. Now it's a complete spam, complete disaster. There's political posts, and then there's really inappropriate things that you don't want to see, and all kinds of nonsense on there. And then in addition, okay, it's supposed to be a job searching site, nothing but fake and ghost jobs. So it's definitely lived long enough to see itself become a villain and to just have spam and junk and nonsense on there. And one of the main things you should be on LinkedIn for is to network, to maybe find a new job. And that's not even working these days. So a lot of things are happening on LinkedIn and just the job market in general. And that's taken the fight out of a lot of people. People are beaten down, they're discouraged, and they're just absolutely done with trying to find a job. Maybe they're trying different and new ways. Maybe they're starting YouTube channels or just going through some other kind of side hustle, like delivering food, taking people on Uber rides, because it's just a waste of time at some point. You just completely give up on applying to jobs to hear nothing, to make absolutely no progress. But let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Talk to you later.